They said he was too small, too soft, too late in his career to matter. But in 2017, Isaiah Thomas didn't just prove he belonged. He made the league look foolish for ever doubting him. 5'9", 60th pick, third team in 5 years. And somehow, by the time this season ended, he wasn't just the heart of the Celtics. He was the most dangerous closer in the NBA. He didn't walk into games hoping for a chance. He walked in knowing someone had to die tonight. And most nights, it wasn't him. This is the story of the smallest giant the league has ever seen. And the season where he made every second count. The Celtics were supposed to be building something. Not winning yet, not contending, just developing. And then Isaiah Thomas flipped the whole plan. He didn't come out slow. He came out swinging. 25 here, 30 there. And suddenly, the smallest dude in the room, he's the one getting MVP chance in TD Garden. He wasn't just having good games, he was doing it every night. By December, he was averaging over 27. And the Celtics were climbing. Analysts started whispering, wait, is he for real? By the end of the month, there was no more whispering. Just the sound of a city getting behind its unlikely king. Most stars dominate the game early. They hit you with the haymaker in the first half, then coast. Isaiah Thomas? Nah, he waited till your legs were tired, then buried you. By January, he wasn't just leading the league in fourth quarter points. He was clowning defenses when it mattered most. They called him King of the Fourth, and for good reason. He was hitting daggers from the logo, spinning through traffic like a 5'9" tornado, running entire NBA teams out of the gym in the last 5 minutes. It didn't matter who you sent, bigs, traps, double teams. When the fourth quarter came around, it was his time, and the league couldn't do a damn thing about it. By the time the calendar flipped to January, Isaiah Thomas wasn't just hot, he was molten. This wasn't a fluke, this wasn't momentum, this was a full-on takeover. He averaged nearly 33 points a game for the month, the third highest monthly average in Celtics history. Only Larry Bird and Pierce ever did it better. And he wasn't just scoring, he was orchestrating. On January 3rd against Utah, he dropped a career-high 15 assists. 15! From a guy people said was too short to see over defenders. Then he followed it up with 38 on the Pelicans, 41 on the Pistons, 44 on the Raptors. Every game, a clinic. Every quarter, his. By the end of the month, Boston wasn't sneaking up on anyone. They were second in the East. And their engine, the 5'9" menace, was in the thick of the MVP race. This wasn't just Isaiah's team anymore. It was his league to torch. The numbers were undeniable. 29 points per game, nearly 6 assists, top 3 in fourth quarter scoring. And yet, the league still weren't buying it. He's too small. He doesn't play defense. Can't lead a contender. But what they couldn't see was what Boston felt every night. He was the heartbeat, the closer, the reason they believed. And then came the MVP chance. Louder, every game, even on the road. It wasn't hype, it wasn't pity, it was real. Because it wasn't just about buckets anymore, it was how he did it. At 5'9" with the weight of a city on his back, Isaiah Thomas was putting giants in his rear view. But the biggest moment of his life, it was still to come. And it had nothing to do with basketball. April 15th, 2017, the day the game stopped mattering. Isaiah Thomas was getting ready for Game 1 of the playoffs, a home series, a chance to prove himself on the biggest stage yet. And then he got the call.
The entire Boston Celtics family is deeply saddened by the tragic passing of China Thomas. And at this time, we ask you to please join us in a moment of silence in her honor.
His younger sister, China Thomas, gone in a single car crash the night before the game. Nobody would have blamed him if he sat out. No one expected him to suit up, but somehow he did. That night, he played, not for the win, not for the critics, but for her. 33 points, emotions tucked deep beneath every floater, every drive, every stare into the rafters. That whole series against the Bulls, he kept going. flew back and forth between games and funeral arrangements, held his team together while barely holding himself. And then came May 2nd, what would have been her 23rd birthday. Game 2 versus Washington, and Isaiah didn't just play, he exploded. May 2nd, 2017, Game 2 against the Wizards. On what would have been China Thomas's 23rd birthday, Isaiah didn't play like a man in pain, he played like a man possessed. This wasn't just basketball anymore, this was grief turned into fire. And the Wizards, they walked right into it.
Where are you finding not only the strength to play, but to excel in this hotly contested environment?
Well, my sister wouldn't want me to stop. The only thing about it is once I leave this gym, I hit reality and she's not here.
He started slow, just 5 points in the first quarter, but then it clicked. He dropped 20 in the second quarter, getting to the rim, pulling up from 30, weaving through defenders like they were shadows. By the third, you could see it in his eyes. He wasn't going to let them lose. Fourth quarter, he turned into the king of the fourth again. Overtime, he owned it. Final stat line, 53 points. Most in Celtics playoff history since John Havlicek. And when the buzzer sounded, he didn't scream, he didn't celebrate. He just looked up. That wasn't just a playoff game, that was a tribute, a farewell, and maybe the most beautiful game of his life. You drop 53 in the playoffs, carry an entire city on your back. And what does your body do? It breaks. Right after his match, the pain started to creep in, a nagging hip injury, nothing new. But this time it bit back, hard. Still, Isaiah didn't stop. Game 3, Game 4, he fought. You could see him wincing after every drive, every landing. But quitting, that was never in his vocabulary. The Celtics made it to the conference finals. But against LeBron and the Cavs, it became clear. His hip was cooked. He couldn't even lift off, couldn't explode, couldn't move laterally. It wasn't just a bad night, it was a shutdown, a full-blown breakdown. He played his last game of the season in Game 2, and with that, the magic run was over. But not the legend, because real legends, they don't fade in the spotlight, they limp out of it after giving everything they had. It's funny how basketball works. One minute you're dropping 53 in the playoffs, the next you're trying to walk straight without wincing. Isaiah Thomas gave Boston a season no one saw coming, an MVP-level run, a heart-on-your-sleeve performance that turned TD Garden into his kingdom. But what they didn't know was, he was breaking down the whole time. The hip, the grind, the grief, it was all catching up. That night in May when he finally had to sit, it wasn't just the end of a playoff run, it was the end of an era. He would never be the same player again. Not in Cleveland, not in LA, not in Denver. Teams moved on, the league moved on, but real ones, they remember. That year at 5'9", Isaiah Thomas stood taller than almost anyone in the league. He took the Celtics to 53 wins. He became king of the fourth, and for one glorious season, he reminded us all what heart looks like in a pair of Nikes. He never got the MVP, he never got the ring. But what Isaiah Thomas gave the game, you can't measure that in trophies. You measure it in heart, in courage, in the roar of a city that knew this wasn't just a player. He was a warrior, a leader, a 5'9" giant who turned pain into poetry. So when they talk about the greats, don't forget the king of the fourth.
Isaiah's the greatest basketball player.
If you felt that, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll bring you more stories of the legends who earned it the hard way.